If you're watching this, you're probably one of two people. Either you genuinely like feet and you're trying to navigate it like a normal human being, or you're stuck in that weird loop where you feel very hot, you feel bold for 10 seconds, you sense something cringe, and then you feel embarrassed or angry when you get ignored. Now, listen, if you're serious about dropping the shame and showing up with self respect, I made a free pack for you called the Kink Shame Exit Kit. It's in the description below. And I want you to grab it now and then come back because this video will change how you move online. So, the other day I asked my Instagram a simple question. What's your number one struggle right now? And some of you answered like normal human beings. Focus, anxiety, money, health, loneliness. And we're going to get to talk about those in a separate video because those are real struggles and I see you. But today we need to talk about the other category of answers. Because some of you answered my number one struggle question with things like not having you as my girlfriend, wanting to worship so hot ladies' feet, worshiping you and especially your feet and your soles, and my personal favorite, you baby, and your beautiful. Yeah, we're not even going to finish that sentence on YouTube. And listen, if that's you, I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm saying this is exactly the mindset that keeps you stuck. Because if your number one struggle is worshiping a stranger's feet, that's not a struggle. That's a fantasy that's actively ruining your life. And if you're typing these things on autopilot every single day, you see a photo with a woman's feet thinking is going to get you some form of access, well, it won't. And I know you noticed that already. But that's not because you're hopeless. Rather, because you're using a strategy that makes you look like a time waster. And women can smell a time waster energy from a mile away. And you've been there. But listen, I'm not here to judge you, okay? As always, I'm here to give you an upgrade. Because what I'm about to say might sting a little, but it's the kind of sting that wakes you up like cold water on your face. So, today we're talking about the truth about quote unquote slaves because I see this every single day. People spamming models with I'm your slave. I worship you, goddess. Can I lick your feet? Please humiliate me. And I need you to understand something. That is not submission, and that's not devotion. That's not even being a slave. That is you abandoning yourself in public. And it's not attractive. It's not powerful. And worst of all, most of the time, it doesn't even get you what you want. So, if you actually want a woman to respond to you, to respect you, or even feel something real when she sees your name, this video is for you. And I want you to watch until the end because I'm going to show you the exact mental shift that separates a man who gets ignored from a man who actually gets access. And he gets access not because he's rich, not because he's perfect, but rather because he's not leaking desperation. All right? Let's get into it. First, we need to clean up a huge confusion. A dumb sub dynamic, especially one where someone uses words like slave, is not just words, okay? It's a relationship container. What do I mean by that, you may ask? Well, that means that the relationship has four important pillars: consent, structure, boundaries, and exchange. But what a lot of you are doing is declaring a role in your own head and then acting like the other person owes you the script. And that's how you end up writing, I'm your slave, under a random post like you're placing an order at a drive thru. Even if it's a fantasy dynamic, it still has terms. And one of the most important is the submissive adds value through different forms. And this can be in multiple ways. It could be money. Yes, I said money. It could be time, service, loyalty, emotional support, consistency, devotion that's actually proven, not declared. Now, compare that to the guy who goes into a comment section and types, I'm your slave goddess. Now, let me say it clearly. A comment section is not a color. A DM is not a contract. And calling yourself a slave doesn't make you one. It makes you a stranger announcing his fantasies into the void. And then you wonder why you get ignored. Now, listen, this is not me being mean right now. This is me saving you from further humiliation. I'm here to tell you the hard truths that no one else will tell you. So here's what's happening psychologically when you call yourself a slave to someone who didn't ask you to be one. Again, you're not being submissive. You're trying to skip the entire process. You're trying to jump straight to access. And you want the feeling of closeness without earning the closeness. You want the reward without the relationship. And the truth is, women can feel that. Yeah, even online. Now, here's the reality that most men don't want to accept. Your favorite model, especially if she is even moderately successful, has options. She has hundreds, sometimes thousands of men messaging her. She has hundreds of comments and people asking for her attention all day, every day. And now, even if she wanted to respond to everyone, she literally couldn't. So she does need a filter. And if you hate that word, filter, that's good because it means you're emotionally attached to the fantasy that you should be the exception. But you're not the exception, and not because you're worthless, okay? But because you're not a priority yet. And the only way to become a priority is to understand how filters work. Now, I need to address something I see constantly. Men bragging like this. I'll never subscribe. I'm not paying for content. She won't get a cent from me. I'm not a simp. Listen, you can do whatever you want with your money, but don't confuse not paying with having power. Because if you're demanding attention while proudly offering nothing, that's not power, that's entitlement. And entitlement is the fastest way to get ignored. It's like you're basically walking into a store, grabbing items, and yelling, I'm not paying for this, but I deserve it because I'm here. And then you get removed. And then you scream, see, everybody's only after money. Money is the root of all evil. No one wants friendship anymore these days. See, no, you're just confusing the world because you're acting like a customer while pretending you're a friend, and you're mad because she's not playing along. Now, let me give you the clearest reality check, said with all my love. Listen, a woman with a paid platform is not selling her soul, her body, or whatever some of you think. She's just charging for her time, for her energy, and for her creation. Just like any other professional, you don't go to the therapist and then you get mad at them when they're charging you for their time. Do you? And if you don't like to pay, that's totally cool. Don't buy. No one is forcing you to do anything without your consent, do they? But then don't stand outside her door throwing rocks and calling her names. That behavior is weak. Now, I know some of you feel triggered when the word and the concept of money comes up because you were raised with a mindset that sounds like this: money is evil, money corrupts, money is the root of all evil, money doesn't grow on trees. But let me reframe this in a way that upgrades your brain. Money is not evil, money is just a measurement tool. It measures value in a system. And online, where time and attention are scarce, money becomes the simplest filter. Not because women are gold digging monsters, but because it's efficient. And if you're thinking, wow, so it's all about money, huh? No, but money is often the first gate. And here's the part most men miss: you don't have to be rich to indulge. You just have to stop being a time waster. Because time waster energy is not about money, it's about behavior. And time waster energy looks like robotic messages, copy paste worship paragraphs, constant sexual demands, zero curiosity about her as a human being, and expecting emotional labor from a stranger, and then acting offended when she doesn't respond. And the moment you remove that kind of energy, you become something else. You become rare. And rare gets you the attention you want. Now, this is the part that actually changes people. So I want you to really listen carefully. Most guys online are operating from this identity: I'm not enough, therefore I must beg. I must go over the top with compliments, etc. And that is disguised as worship, but worship that comes from insecurity is not devotion. It's more like panic. It's please validate me, please relieve my shame, please make me feel wanted. And when a woman feels that, it's not sexy and it's not attractive at all. It just feels heavy. It feels like responsibility, and no one wants to be responsible for a stranger's self esteem. So, here's the shift I'm giving to you today. Instead of I'm your slave goddess, please notice me, become I respect myself, I respect you, and I'm intentional. Because submission, and I'm talking here about real submission, it comes from strength, not from self hatred. It doesn't come from desperation, just strength. Now, we're getting into my favorite part of the video where we get practical. Because I don't want this to be seen as just a rant. Here's what actually works if you want connection and attention. First, stop performing and start communicating like a human. So instead of saying, Goddess, I worship your feet and I'm unworthy, please, 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 I'm begging you, try something else. Try, hey, quick question. Do you prefer soft teasing energy or strict energy with your subs? I'm trying to understand what dynamic you actually enjoy. That one sentence does a few things. It shows you're aware she has preferences, it signals emotional intelligence, it isn't demanding anything, and it separates you from the robots. Now, if you want a dumb sub vibe, lead with consent and clarity. Try. I would love to explore a dumb sub dynamic with you. If you're open to that, what are your boundaries and expectations? Notice what you're not doing. You're not dumping graphic sexual content. You're not begging. You're not forcing her to manage you. You're acting like a grown man. And then I need you to understand the value concept here without the shame. Value can be buying something if you actually want it, tipping for attention if you want priority, being consistent and respectful, writing a message that proves you're not wasting her time. But here's the key: value is not bribery, value is exchange. And exchange is adult. Begging, on the other hand, is more like child energy. Now, listen, if you're not paying, then don't complain about the level of access. And this is huge, guys. I really need you to understand that if you are not paying, your role is that of a viewer, a supporter, a respectful follower, not boyfriend, best friend, private client, emotional pen pal, or whatever you may think you are. And if you can't accept your lane, you'll become calm. And calm is more attractive. Let's go deeper for a second. For a lot of you, it's not just about feet. Feet are the doorway. What you really want is something much deeper than that. You want connection, you want intimacy, you want to be seen, to feel chosen, to feel safe in your desire. You want to feel like you can be yourself without being mocked. And I want you to have that because I think you deserve it. But you don't get that by humiliating yourself in comment sections. You get it by becoming the kind of man who can hold his desire with dignity. Because desire is not the problem, shame is the problem. Always. Desperation is always a problem, and also is entitlement. So I'm going to give you one sentence that I want you to remember forever. If you want to be chosen, stop acting like you're not worth choosing. And I'll say that again for the people in the back. If you want to be chosen, stop acting like you're not worth choosing. So here's my challenge for you for this week. For the next 7 days, do not send a single message that you would be embarrassed to read out loud. Not because kink is cringe, but because self abandonment is. And if you want to submit, submit with honor. If you want to worship, worship with consent. If you want to connect, connect like a human. And if you can't, understand that that's not a her problem, okay? That's your nervous system needing training. And this is why I'm here. I can help you exactly with that right here on this channel. Now, if this hit you, comment the word dignity. So I know you made it till the end. And if this helped you, go grab my Kink Shame Exit Kit in the description below. It includes a text file and an audio where you can literally listen to my voice guiding you out of that shame autopilot loop and back into choice and self-respect. So go get it and comment below dignity. Also, like this video, subscribe, and send it to one friend who needs to hear this reality check. Not to shame him, to free him, as always, because the goal isn't to become better at getting attention. The goal is to become the kind of man who doesn't have to beg for it and gets it naturally. I'll see you in the next one. Much love.